nekudaro mukati wechigaro ndinoona kuti isu tiri mukati meimba tikandokurudzira kunzvimbo dzatinobva kuti vanhu ngavabatane, nokudaro kuti mutungamiri wedu wenyika paanouyisa chikafu chinouya chiri chemunhu wese chisina kukonyorwa chiti chinopiwa wakadai chopiwa wakadai. Asi isu kana tobva muno tisu tinototaura mashoko asiwo okuda kuparadzanisa vanhu vakazvigarira zvakanaka kumusha, zvichiita sokunzi mutungamiri wenyika pane vavanonzi vanopiwa, pane vavanoti havapiwi. Asi kana mamanga vakateerera mashoko emutungamiri wenyika wakati munhu wese wemuno muZimbabwe hapana kusada kuparinzana. Kana zvanzi munhu wese wemuno muZimbabwe hazvirevi kuti andizvi munhu akambozvarwa muno muZimbabwe chizvarwa cheZimbabwe, saka unofanira kuwana zvinofanira kuwana zvizvarwa zvomuno muZimbabwe. Ini ndakafara nemashoko akaturwa nemutungamiri wedu wenyika, akaita kuti tidzidze. Ndakavaona muono wokuona kuti mangwana kana wazovavo mutungamiriri uchitungamirira nyika usasarudza, nokudaro kuti kana uri mutungamiri wakafanana nababa, baba vanoda vana vavo vose. Mubato wechigaro, ndoda kukutendai nemashoko mashoma iwawa. Ndaonawo ndawedzera mashoko angu pane zvakataurwa muimba ino nomutungamiri wedu wenyika. Mazvita
kutaura nerurimi rwamai usina kusanganisa nechimwana chaizvo kuti rurimi rwamai rwakanaka rwakakosha zvikiwa njengavakokeri sinomlando wokuthuthukisa into ukwenzela ukuthi abaphandimali bazigqaje ngolimi lwethu njengabantu. Hayi ukuthi ndichakusendera ndisikuunderstanda chicho
chekupa vanhu vari kupiwa chikafu, vanhu vari kuwana chero tisiri kuwana asi chiri kugoveranwa zvakanaka. Ndoda kufarazve nenyaya yekuti kunyange zvataura nemutaurabva mukutaura kuti nemumadhorobhazve vakupiwawo mari kuti vaitewo vachinotsvagawo kuti vararama, nokuti hakuna kusina nzara even muno chero muno mudhorobha mune dambudziko rekushaya chokudya nenyaya yekuti kuoma kwekunze kwakanyanyisa makore maviri adarika. Saka ndoda kutenda mashoko iwayo nekuti zveyo zvavakataura havana ngotaura chete asi zviri kutoitika. Kana ndakatarisa muzvikoro takaona tiine dambudziko rakakura kuzvikoro kumusha kwandinobva iri kumwendezi. Vana vaishaya kuti kuchikoro vanonoswera sei nokuti anenge abva mubasi nechacho. Asi iko zvino chikafu chaakubikwawo munhu mwana wese, chero vanoshayisisa nevanowana vanenge vakafanana nokuti vachawana chikafu pachikoro. Saka ndoda kutenda izvozvo zviri kuitika munyika muno zvakaturwa muno mudare napurezidendi wedu. Ndoda kubata zvakare nyaya yemvura. Nyaya yemvura yakanga yatishungurudza nanhasi ichiri kungotishungurudza, nokuti dzimwe nzvimbo hadzina kana mvura. Munhu anoshaya kuti obatana nei, asi purezidendi vakasimudza chirongwa chokuti kumamisha uku tine nemvura ichacherwa. Ndoda kutenda kuti nenzvimbo iwo kwedu kwandinobva kumwendezi mabhoho akaiswa kutenda muono wapurezidendi iwoyo wokuti hapana musha uchasara usina kuchererwa mvura. Tiri kutarisira kuti mvura iyi ichasvika kwese kwese muno munyika, zvekuti kana tikange tave nemabhoho aya hatichawana dambudziko rekuti mvura inoshayikwa sekushayiwa kwayaya kuita nekuti mombe dzaakutofa, vanhu vachishaya kuti voita sei nokuti vava vachichera mvura munonzi mumufuku. Vamwe venyama zati manoziva mufuku mazuva anodzika wakadzika zvokuti dai pasina kuti purezidendi vakatipa mabhoho iwayo tainzwa vamwe vanhu vawirwa nemavhu nokuti vanenge vachichera mvura pasi perwizi. Vanotoenda murwizi votochera kuti mujecha imomo vachisangana nemombe dzavo nemadhongi vachicherera vachiindisa panze zvaisiririsa. Asi nokuda kwokuti purezidendi vedu vakazviona kuti zvinhu zvinotambudza chinokwana, vakatipa mabhoho. Ndoda kutenda mashoko iwayo nekuita kwavo nokuti vanoti zvavanotaura ndozvavanoita. Kurigo vakataurazve kuti zviwanikwa zvedu taakuda kuti zvichitariswa kuti titengese, tichiitawo kuti zvivandudzwe. Kana zvavavandudzwa zvizotengeswawo isusu tavanoona. Mashoko akandibata ndikamuti wokufara kuti tiri kuwanawo chatichawana kana tichinge tawana zviwanikwa zvedu zvatinazvo zvakawanda zvakadai kutibatsira kuti nyika yedu ive nekuvandudzwa kwairi kuita iko zvinhu. Ndoda kutarisazve nyaya yemigwagwa. Vazhinji vakaona chakaita inonzi SADC summit muno yakave yakafamba zvakanaka kuda kuti migwagwa yedu inobatanisa pese pese yakava yakagadzirwa. Kunyange nzvimbo zhinji dzakasarira dzisina migwagwa dzakwana migwagwa iriko. Kunyange tine masachisi kana kuti tine uzvirawo zvepfumi, tiri kuwanikwa
Siyabonga kakhulu uPresident welizwe njengoba eshilo ukuthi akulamuntu kufanele abulawe yindlala. Sibona ukudla lokhu kuyaphuza kakhulu. Okokuthi khathesi ungananzelela kwezinye izindawo lokhu ekuthele ukukhona ngoJulayi. Kuze kube namhla ukudla lokhu kakukho kwezinye indawo. Okokuthi indlala isimbi kakhulu kwezinye indawo okokuthi kube kukhangelelwe ukuthi ngabe kumbe kuyaphiwa ngenyanga ukwenzela ukuthi kungabi lesikhala sokuthi kutshaye umoya kwezinye imuli ezivele zileziswelo eziphezulu. Sizwile uPresident Speaker ekhuluma ngezemigwaqo, izakhiwo ezikhona phakathi kwelizwe. Kodwa kwezinye izindawo singananzelela eminye imigwaqo ikakhulu eluhlwini lweMandebeleni ngapha. Imigwaqo isifile lokhana okubuhlungu. Izingozi zemigwaqo ziyala zisanda khona ngale. Ungakhangela umgwaqo wekolosi ngale akusuzingali khona ngale kwenzakaleni isehlakalo esibi emgwaqo esenze amabhonetha ayi-2 athenethana ngamagodi lana asemakhulu kangakani. Kwathina esitha kusipha abatshayeli bakhona bonke. Abatshayeli ababebekudle kwesinye isikhathi abanye babesuka ngapha eluhlwini lwangapha esishoneni besebenza indawo zonke ngoba ilizwe labantu bonke, kodwa bakhanya bengena ezingozini zokufana. Besicela ukuthi ngabe kuyatshuthiswa ukuthi imigwaqo eMandebeleni leyana ngokukhanyisa kuncediswe ukuthi ilungiswe ngoba yonke ikhanya isisesimeni esingekho kahle khona ngapha. Abaspeaker, siyabonga isitsho sika-Baba uPresident esithi akube nokuthula, kube nokubambana, nokuxolelana. Singananzelela Speaker ukuthula kuqakathekile kakhulu. Njalo futhi umkhokheli welizwe amazwi ayewatsho wayewatshela ukuthi nxa sesiza kithi amalunga edale leParliament ukhona lathi esizamugeza, ukhona esizamncedisa ngakho laye azamuthatha esizamutsho. Baba Speaker, ngingananzelela esikhathini esiningi kule ndaba yomguqazwe eMandebeleni owehlela khona ngale. Izimuli eziningi kuyabe lokhe kuhamba kungena laba abasakhulayo abangemuva. Okokuthi bangakubamba kuzayenza ukuthi kwesinye isikhathi kungabi nokuthula ebantwini belizwe leZimbabwe. Kanti yonke into iyakhulunyiswa njalo kuxolelwana ngendlela. Lesicelo sokuthi ngabe udaba lolu olomguqazwe luyabanjwa ikakhulu ubona labo abehlelwa yileso sehlakalo, ubonwe bona mathupha, kukhulunyiswane nabo, izinhliziyo zabo zixole ukwenzela ukuthi abantwana abalandela ngemuva lolu sapho oluzayo lube kwazi ukuthi into eyaphelayo labo bebathi abadala bayishiya beyilungisile. Lungabe lokhe luhambelela ngoba luzayenza ukuthi abantu babandlululane ngemihlobo. Ngakhangela kumbe ndinganise ngami Baba Speaker, ngaleso sikhathi ngangisesemfitshane ngangincinyane kodwa umzali wami wadutshulwa phambi kwethu singabantwana. Konke khonokho kuyatshintsha kakhulu. Okokuthi kabe kudinga ukuthi kukhulunyiswane abantu baxolisane kuphele kungahambelelani indaba ye-ground le ehlala eMandebeleni. Ngiyabonga Baba Speaker.
Honorable Manduwanzira.
I'd like to thank you for this opportunity for me to make a contribution in recognizing His Excellency's State of the Nation address before this House and the articulation by His Excellency of the numerous developments that are taking short space of time under which he has been driving the Second Republic. And this development that we have seen has happened even when the country is under illegal economic sanctions. We have seen the construction of major highways. We have seen the upgrading of border posts. We have seen the upgrading of airports. We have seen the rebuilding of many industries, all under the leadership of His Excellency President Mnangagwa, despite those challenges that have been brought about by illegal economic sanctions. And we must, in my view, as members of Parliament and as Parliament, thank the President for this determination in taking our country forward and uplifting the lives and standards of life for our people. I've had this debate, Mr. Speaker, by some who say there are no more sanctions against this country. And there has been some confusion brought about by the fact that certain entities that were under illegal economic sanctions have been taken off. But for as long as the head of state, for as long as the president of this country remains under economic sanctions or sanctioned where there's an individual, the fact of the matter is that he is our president. There is no one else in this country who we can stand up, whether you are black, you are white, you are colored, you are whatever, whether you are ZANU-PF, you are Triple C, you are MDC, you are whatever. There is no other person other than the president who we all can stand up and say, you represent my aspirations, and therefore I expect you to enter this way. So if that person is put under any kind of embargo, it means you have put all the people of Zimbabwe under embargo.
One person is not Zimbabwe. If I, Honorable Matsvanyi, is under sanctions, Zimbabwe is not under sanctions. Individuals, to be specific, there are 11 individuals who are under sanctions in this country. All the executive order sanctions were lifted. So no one is going to.
Thank you. What you need to appreciate, Honorable Member, that is Honorable Maziwani Gayas. Any head of state and government is the epitome of the sovereign and sovereignty of a people in that country. And if you read properly the definition of statecraft, then you will appreciate what Honorable Manuanzira is saying. So your point of order is misplaced. Thank you.
Your ability to address these issues effectively, just like as you have done. Thank you. In fact, I did mention at the beginning of my presentation that some confusion has been added. I do respect Honorable Matsvanyi's views and opinions, but that's part of the confusion that has been created.
You have had your...
To make it very clear that I did not say the Honorable Member is confused. What I say is that what he said adds to the confusion that is there around the issue of sanctions, which is that there are many stories being peddled about the removal of economic sanctions against this country. But my point remains, we want to acknowledge His Excellency President Emmerson Mnangagwa's leadership, economic leadership in driving this country forward even under economic sanctions that still exist. I just want to make this point, which is the last point about economic sanctions. In the United States, they have a law on sanctions against Zimbabwe. That law, and any member is free to go on the internet right now to check, has not been repealed. And that law has elements to it that bar representatives of the United States to international organizations like the IMF and World Bank to vote against any funding allocations to Zimbabwe. That law still exists, and therefore I don't want us to debate something that is there in public domain. I would like to commend His Excellency's approach in steering development in our country. His mantra that no place and no one should be left behind is well articulated in his State of the Nation address, as he mentioned the 35,000 business units at every village in our country that are being developed by his government. This is phenomenal. And he mentioned the support to this program by the Presidential Borehole Drilling Program. I really wish, Mr. Speaker said, our local authorities who receive funds under the devolution funds could allocate significant amounts towards investments in infrastructure equipment. For instance, borehole drilling rigs to drill boreholes in every village in support of this program by His Excellency. The current situation is that the local authorities are waiting for the President to send DDF, which is now REIT, to go and drill the boreholes, and yet they can take instruction from the President's policy, buy the necessary equipment, including borehole rigs, and go ahead to implement the President's policy. So I would encourage that the private sector, the local authorities, join hands in implementing His Excellency's policy, which he articulated as well during the State of the Nation address. We have seen significant investment coming into the country as a result of the efforts of the new dispensation under President Emmerson Mnangagwa. The policy of Zimbabwe is open for business, is bearing fruit, and we are all seeing it. We have seen huge investment coming to the mining sector, multi-billion-dollar investments in platinum mining, investments in lithium mining, and we have seen investments in the manufacturing sector. For instance, the Manise project, $1.5 billion investment, all under the new dispensation. This clearly shows our country is going somewhere under the leadership of President Mnangagwa. Zimbabwe clearly is attractive to investors, and the policies and the drive of the government is attracting that interest, is attracting the investment that's coming into our country. And I believe that investment that comes into the country does not benefit a political party. It benefits every individual in our country. So it is important that we on this side of the house and those on the other side of the house, when it comes to things that have nothing to do with politics, but with the livelihood of our people in our country, we must speak the same language. We must say the same things. We must undermine, but we must offer criticism on where things can be done better. And I believe the State of the Nation address showed us the direction that the government is taking, and I applaud His Excellency on the direction that has been shown. Nobody can criticize the fact that Zimbabwe is now the only other country outside of Ethiopia that is wheat sufficient on the African continent. We are producing our own meat, and we don't need to import. If at all we need to import, it's because we need a certain taste to mix with our meat, not because we need that meat from the other countries. And again, that's the success of His Excellency the President. Our tobacco production has again grown phenomenally. Our maize, had it not been for the El Nino, again, we have seen growth in that specific sector. Let me talk briefly about tobacco, Mr. Speaker said. Because we've been producing a lot of tobacco, it's bought at the auction floors at $3, $2, $4, $50 a kg. But that tobacco, when value added, costs thousands of dollars per kg when it has become cigarettes. And I am congratulating the trust of the government to push for value addition in our tobacco industry. Not just our tobacco industry, but in many sectors, including the mining industry. The President has articulated on many occasions the policies on value addition and beneficiation. I believe that we should see our private sector and our financial institutions come to rally behind the President's policies. The challenge I see, Mr. Speaker, said, is we wait for the President to pronounce a policy. We also wait for the President to find the money to back the policy. We also wait for the President to start implementing the policy itself. And yet, as a leader, he must just give direction, and everybody must follow. I believe with the policy pronunciation by the President, some of them articulated in the State of the Nation address, we should see our financial institutions put together funds that are available for our indigenous Zimbabweans to go and borrow in order to import or to buy machinery for value addition or beneficiation. But if we don't do this, these policies will not benefit us as Zimbabweans. They will benefit those with access to resources from outside the country. So we will see those who can access money in China, in South Africa, in Pakistan, in India, come and set up those processing plants for our agricultural products. So we should see, in my view, institutions supporting His Excellency's policies by putting the resources to support. I do not believe that if financial institutions in our country syndicated a fund for beneficiation and value addition and went to government and said, we want you to give a government guarantee of this fund, the government will say no. There is no government that will ever say no to supporting its own policy. Mr. Speaker said, our country is attractive to investors, but we could be more attractive if we had cheaper electricity. I have listened to other colleagues speak about the huge investment that is going into new energy, clean energy. This is wonderful, and I would like to congratulate the President for supporting this. But I took note, Mr. Speaker, sir, of a statement made by His Excellency in the State of the Nation address. He said, we must intentionally examine use of alternative energy sources because this is important. He lamented the fact that the national power supplies remain subdued. Now, I know sometimes we get carried away by the global thrust and global drive towards new energy. But the reality is that electricity, if we were organized in this country, electricity must not cost what it costs today to Zimbabweans. We were given huge resources of coal by God. And that coal is what drove the economic growth of Europe. And this is our turn to use our resources to drive our own economic growth. When you speak to Professor Mtumi Ncube, he will tell you that the miners who are coming and investing in our country are appealing for cheaper electricity. They are paying 12 cents per kilowatt hour. They would prefer to pay 6 cents per kilowatt hour. If they pay 6 cents per kilowatt hour, they are able to be more profitable, to employ more people, to open up new areas of mining. We can reduce the price of our electricity to less than 6 cents per kilowatt hour if we utilize our huge core resources towards generating our electricity. And we have, as developing countries, up to 2050, if we are following the United Nations climate change decisions, we have until 2050 to phase out coal. So in the meantime, I believe that we should be pushing for a thrust towards investment in coal energy in order to build our country. If we look today at Europe, one of the biggest powerhouses industrially is Germany. One of the biggest countries producing for the world is Germany. And Germany is driving that economy with coal energy. Germany relies 54 gigawatts of their electricity is coming from coal. Just for everybody to understand, 54 gigawatts is 54,000 megawatts of electricity. That's what Germany is producing from coal. We only produce totally about 2,000 megawatts of electricity in our country. Germany is producing 54,000 from coal, which we are all rushing to phase out because we want to please the global agenda of a cleaner world. Let's build our economy first. Let's generate electricity that is cheaper, which will allow more companies to invest in our country, our mines to grow, our agriculture to irrigate 24/7, and our people to cook with electricity at their homes. And I'm encouraging us. I know as Parliament we are the ones who adopt these agreements, but we must understand we have an opportunity to grow our country quicker and faster if we promote coal energy, because God has granted us those resources. Mr. Speaker, I need to wrap up, but I just need to say before I sit that I'm excited by His Excellency's thrust towards the commercialization of innovations around our universities. Because of the thrust that the government has been taking, where there's a lot of innovation now coming in from our young inventors at universities. The new thrust by the government, according to His Excellency in the State of the Nation Address, is to make sure there is commercialization of those technologies or that creativity that's coming from our universities. I just would like to go further by saying we need the ministers responsible to then extend the President's articulation by ensuring that there are policies that force government departments, government parastatals, the private sector in our country to buy from those students, to buy from those universities, and that's how we can grow the economy. Finally, Mr. Speaker said, His Excellency in the State of the Nation Address recognized and commended our Zimbabwe Defense Forces for their commitment to the defense of our sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I always remind my friends and colleagues that, the fact that we wake up at night, we sleep well, we're not opening our door, checking what's outside every day, is because there are men and women who don't sleep to make sure that we have peace in our country. And we must always remember and recognize it. And I've seen in other countries that the men and women in uniform always get special treatment when it comes to services. If you go to a bank, there's a shorter queue for the men and women in services. If you go to the airport, there is a priority queue for our men and women in uniform to save our country day and night. Perhaps it's something we must do for our Zimbabwe Defense Forces and other men and women in in uniform who serve our country loyally and diligently. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. I have some announcement. The legal committee met on the 23rd of October and considered the amendments made to the Death Penalty Abolition Bill, HB 5, 2023. The committee is of the opinion that the bill, as amended, is not in contravention of the Declaration of Rights or any other provisions of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. I've also received non-adverse certificate for statutory instruments gazetted during the month of August 2024. The Parliamentary Legal Committee met on the 23rd of October and considered the statutory instruments that were gazetted during the month of August 2024. The committee is of the opinion that statutory instruments 141, 142, 143, 144, 145, 146, 147, 148, and 149, except statutory instrument 150, which is still under consideration, are not in contravention of the Declaration of Rights or any other provisions of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. May I now call upon Honorable Machangu to take the floor.
ukuthi ebambe ezokukhokhela isihlalo sesadaka. Mgcini isihlalo ngiphakama lapho ukuthi ngingengxoxo lami kudaba lolu osalethulelwa ngumongameli wethu welizwe ubaba uPresident uMnangagwa esingathi ngesilungu yisona. Uphathe kakhulu ngezindaba ezitshiyeneyo ezinye zangikhona sezixoxile ngabanye omhlonitshwa angeke ngalangaba lokhu ngiphinda ngazo. Kodwa ngithanda ukukhuluma ngakho kakhulu ludaba lapha athinta khona ngezokulima. Umongameli uthinte ngokuthi iminyaka emibili edluleyo ilizwe lakithi litshaywe ludaba lwendlala. Ngakho-ke wakubona kufanele ukuthi kungabi nomuntu ofa ngendlala. Yikho sibona ekhuphe uhlelo lokuthi abantu bephiwe ukudla. Yonke indawo emakhaya uhambisile ukudla, abantu bephiwa ukudla kwenyanga ezintathu ukuze bengalambi bengafi ngephango. Mgcini isihlalo nginanele njalo ukuthi emadolobheni umongameli ufake futhi olunye uhlelo olokuthi abantu bethole imali yokuthi bethenge okuya ethunjini ukuze abantu belulame bengakhali ngephango labayafa ngendlala. Umongameli ubona kufanele ukuthi bephiwe imali abazangezelela labo bedinga abadelele labomvula labolude ukuthi beqhube imali bethole ukudla. Lokho ezisalela emuva ngokunjalo akunamuntu ozafa ngendlala bengafakanga lutho oluye ethunjini ngokuba ukithi ubelala eziko. Mgcini isihlalo bayahamba imikhathi ukucabanga ukuthi khona engadlanga uzafike enzeni esikolweni, khona engatholwa emathunjini uza kugijima kanjani izulu kalinanga. Kodwa umongameli wasenanzele ugejwe imigodi. Bakhulumile abakhulumileyo ukuthi kuzagejwa imigodi engaba yi-35,000 ababegebhe imigodi yabo emakhaya ukuze zithole amanzi. Kodwa nje imigodi nabo sebetshaya esithi ugajongo bephiwa imfuvuza intwasa ukuthi belime ekhaya bethi bahlala emadolobheni kodwa imvelo yabo iyadinga ukuthi belime. Ngiyabonga njalo ukuthi kwezokulima la thina eLupane silendawo okuthiwa yiNkubi lapho esaphiwa khona ithile kuphume abantu bethole okokuphila. Kakulinywa ingqolo yokuphela nginanzelela ukuthi la kulezi ezomkhonomi akunankosana abayibona abasebenza kuleyi ndawo sebethuthukile sebekuzinga eliphezulu bayathengisa izilimo bayakha izindlu zabo zesikhiwa esingathi izindlu zalamhlanje ezifulelwe ngamazinyo.